All right, if you're staring down a massive exam or some huge final project, you know the feeling I'm talking about. That final stretch, it's always the hardest part, isn't it? So today, we're going to dive into a really powerful idea that acts as a guide for that internal journey. You know, the one you have to take to find the strength for that final push. We're actually going to start at the end with this one single line. It looks a little weird, right? Kind of fragmented, but trust me, this idea is the absolute core of everything we're going to talk about. It's our destination. And by the time we're done, this line is going to make perfect sense. So our journey begins in a place that's probably way too familiar to anyone looking at a giant syllabus or a mountain of textbooks. It's a feeling our source material gives a really fitting name.
Does this hit close to home? You look at everything you need to know, every chapter, every formula, every single date, and it just feels endless. It's this heavy sinking feeling that can send you straight into procrastination mode. But look, you are definitely not alone in feeling this way.
And this just nails it, doesn't it? An ocean. It's vast, it's deep, and yeah, it's intimidating. When all your study material feels like this massive, boundless ocean, it is so easy to feel lost at sea. But just acknowledging that feeling, just putting a name to it, that's the first step to figuring out how to cross it. So, okay, how do you cross that ocean? Well, you don't do it all at once. You do it by completely reframing the work. Let's get into our next section, because it's not about just suffering through the pain of studying, it's about seeing it as something that can actually transform you.
Now, this is where the perspective really shifts. What if you thought about it this way? Every gap in your knowledge, every little bit of self-doubt you have, what if those are like wounds? Well, if that's true, then every hour you spend studying, every concept you finally master, that's not a chore. It's an act of healing. You're literally making yourself stronger, more capable, more confident.
So this is basically the roadmap. It all starts with that moment of truth. You got to face the struggle. You just have to open the book. But then something amazing happens. As you start to work, you begin to feel that healing process. You feel confusion slowly turning into understanding. And that feeling, that builds strength, which is exactly where you find a deeper, more powerful focus. And this is the payoff. This is what happens when you find that focus. You've been there before, right? You're so deep in your work that the rest of the world just kind of fades away. That's when your senses intensify. Ideas start connecting, everything becomes clear, and you hit that state of flow. This is your reward for pushing through that initial resistance.
Okay, this next idea is probably the most challenging one, but it might just be the most important. To reach that next level, to really achieve your goal, something has to be let go of. Something has to end.
A good way to think about this is creative destruction. It's when you intentionally break down the things that hold you back. You know, the procrastination habits, the distracting thoughts, that little voice in your head that says, I can't do this, so you can build something way better in its place.
Now, I know this line sounds super dramatic, but when you think about it in terms of that creative destruction, it starts to make sense. The you that dies is the version of you that was held back by all that doubt. The I that dies is the part of you that kept putting things off. It's all about letting that old self go to make room for a new, more focused, more determined version to take over.
And that brings us right here to our final section. We've looked at that overwhelming ocean of work, we've reframed the whole struggle as a healing process, and we've accepted that we have to let go of our old limitations. Now, there's only one thing left to do, the final push. Just take a second and think about all the effort you've already put in. All the late nights, the early mornings, those really tough concepts you wrestled with until they finally clicked. That's all behind you now. And remember that version of yourself you decided to let go of? The one who wasn't totally sure they could do it? That part is gone. You've already proven to yourself that you can handle this. You have navigated that huge, vast ocean of knowledge. The shore is in sight. You've done the work. You are prepared. And now, we're right back where we started. And now, this line clicks. The meaning is so clear. All your teachers, your tutors, your friends, they can help guide you, right? They can be in the boat with you as you cross that ocean. But in the end, I have to push me. In these final moments, the will to cross that finish line, that can only come from one place, and that place is you. So that's the ultimate takeaway here. This entire journey of getting ready for a big challenge leads you to one realization, that the final, most crucial burst of energy comes from within. The power is yours. It always has been. Now go use it.